Hello, this is Ruth Hollingshead, trustee for Site for Wight, welcoming you to this week's Talking News.
Site for Wight news for Friday the 17th of April 2020.
This is Brian reading an article from the Isle of Wight County Press. Cows Week plans move forward as organisers remain hopeful. Cows Week Limited is continuing to work towards its August regatta in spite of current restrictions. Work is continuing from home on all the organisational aspects of the week, and organisers remain committed to running the event if at all possible. Lawrence Mead, regatta director, said, "We continue to move forward with plans for the event and remain hopeful that by the time we get to mid-August, still 4 months away, the necessity to socially distance ourselves will have reduced sufficiently. We can react quickly to changes in the government restrictions and guidance, switching on or off various components with a minimum of lead time and allowing us significant leeway, perhaps until the beginning of July, before we need to make any big decisions. The safety of participants and the hundreds of volunteers working behind the scenes is foremost in our minds, of course, but providing we can run an event that complies with all guidance in place at the time, we fully intend to do so. I suspect there will be lots of sailors desperate to get boats on the water by August. The event is scheduled to take place from Saturday, August the 8th to August the 15th. The notice of regatta will be issued in the next few days on the Cows Week website, while the advance notice of regatta is already online.
This is Chris reading an article from the Isle of Wight County Press. Isle of Wight Marathon changed for the better once women were allowed to enter. The world has changed a lot since the first Isle of Wight Marathon was run in 1957, particularly with attitudes towards the acceptability of women taking part in it at that time. The event is the oldest continuously run marathon in the UK and 25th in the world's list of oldest marathons. In its early years, it was seen as an elite event, with all the best male marathon runners in the UK competing. With its 1,505 foot of ascent, the old course was reckoned to be one of the toughest road marathons in the UK. The inaugural event 63 years ago was won by Ken Honey of Walton Athletic Club in 2 hours 35 minutes 51 seconds. Considered a decent time over the hilly course in those days, with only one drink station in operation at the halfway stage in Godshill. There were few veteran runners in those days, and with women barred from entering, times for the entire field were quite fast. It is very much different these days. Women were allowed to enter 19 years after the first one, and today runners of all abilities take part, aged from 18 to 80. In 1960, John Tarrant of the Hereford Light Infantry entered. He was famously known as the Ghost Runner, with his habit of gate-crashing races. Tarrant had been banned by the Amateur Athletic Association, AAA, for accepting money as a prize fighter in his late teens. Although he made only £17, the athletics establishment was very strict in those days. But Ride Harriers accepted his entry, and he won the marathon from 1960 to 1962. The year he set a new course record of 2 hours, 26 minutes and 44 seconds. He went on to hold ultra-running world records at 40 and 100-mile distances. The island's marathons and the Harriers' next brush with athletics establishment was to allow a woman to run in 1964. The late Dale Gregg, the Scottish cross-country championship title holder at the time and an accomplished long-distance runner, was invited to the island by Bill Ross, the brother of her employer in Paisley. Gregg set off 4 minutes ahead of the men, 19 of which retired from the race. Although most of them passed her, she recovered to pick them off again to finish in 3 hours, 27 minutes, 25 seconds, the first woman to run a sub 3 hour, 30-minute marathon. This beat the current Association of Road Running Statisticians record by 8 minutes to earn her the title of first women's marathon world record holder, recognised by the former International Association of Athletics Federations, the governing body of athletics. Gregg said of the race, "Once I started, I knew things would be all right. I felt sorry for the men. I kept passing in the closing stages. They looked embarrassed."
This is Howard reading an article from OnTheWight with regard to a campaign to light up the sky on the island. A misguided campaign encouraging the public to light sky lanterns in a show of solidarity for NHS workers has been slammed by the Isle of Wight Council. The council is urging people to look for other ways to support key workers, warning the lanterns are a serious fire hazard that pose a risk to livestock, agriculture, thatched properties and hazardous material sites. The council shares the view of the National Fire Chiefs Council, NFCC, which believes that the suggestion that people should set off highly flammable lanterns at a time when wildfires are likely to be on the increase due to the weather conditions should be highly discouraged. While I fully understand people wanting to show their support to the NHS, I would encourage people to find a different way to do this. NFCC does not advocate the use of sky lanterns, and we do not believe they should be used under any circumstances. All emergency services are currently under unprecedented pressure due to COVID-19, and I'm concerned this type of activity could not only put additional pressure on the fire service, but further strain on the NHS. If a sky lantern causes a fire, it could see firefighters spending valuable time dealing with what could be a complex and large-scale incident, time which could be spent supporting vulnerable people in the community as part of the fire service response to COVID-19. One lantern resulted in fire needing 39 fire appliances. A fire in the West Midlands caused by a lantern saw 39 fire appliances and more than 200 firefighters in attendance to tackle it over a number of days. The government has also warned people against supporting the Sky Lantern campaign, saying there are many other ways to support our NHS heroes. Among them is the Clap for Carers campaign, a minute-long nationwide round of applause for those on the front line of the coronavirus crisis every Thursday at 8 p.m. Isle of Wight Council leader, Councillor Dave Stewart, said, "We owe the NHS and all the key workers a huge debt of gratitude and understand people want to show their support. Fires caused by sky lanterns are entirely preventable, and at a time when fire service crews are needed as an essential part of the COVID-19 emergency response, so we're urging islanders not to buy or use sky lanterns, but to continue showing their support for the NHS in other ways. We've seen a great response on the island to the Clap for Carers campaign, and I'd urge people to continue to show their appreciation for the amazing work of our island NHS and care services in this way."
On the Wight by Den Scott. Message to Loved Ones service. Launched so families can stay in touch with patients at St Mary's Hospital. Isle of Wight NHS Trust has launched a new service to help families stay in touch with their loved ones in hospital. The Message to Loved Ones service, run by the Trust's Patient Experience team, aims to maintain the important connections for hospital patients who have been impacted by COVID-19 visitor restrictions. Last month, the Trust, in response to the threat of the coronavirus pandemic, placed restrictions on visitors to the St Mary's site to help keep patients, staff and the wider community safe. Alice Webster, Nursing Director at Isle of Wight NHS Trust, said, "We know how important it is for patients and their families to stay in touch. It means so much to people and can have a huge positive impact while they focus on getting better. Our patient experience team has set up this new service so that family and friends can send messages or pictures to any patient at St Mary's Hospital. These small gestures will no doubt help to keep people's spirits up during their stay with us. We hope this goes some way to ease the impact that COVID-19 is having on our patients and their friends and family." Messages printed, laminated and delivered. The Message to Loved Ones service will let people email in messages, letters and pictures to be shared with our patients. The messages and pictures will be printed out and laminated and delivered to each patient to help keep their spirits up at this difficult time. The Trust's patient experience team will be available to assist members of the public between 9 a.m. and 4:30 p.m. daily, excluding weekends and bank holidays. A voicemail service out of hours will help everyone get a message to their loved ones. Get in touch. The number for members of the public to call is 01983 534 850, or they can email the team using the following address: iownt.message-to-loved-ones@nhs.net.
This article is from the Isle of Wight County Press, and I'm Stephen McDevitt. Isle of Wight villages cut off over Easter weekend as revised bus route stops altogether. Knighton, Whitwell, Chillerton, Shorrell, Bryston and Chale residents were among those left without a bus service for 3 days over the Easter weekend. Southern Vectis' service has been revised due to coronavirus. Under the temporary timetable, routes 6 and 12, which serve villages in the central and west Wight between Newport and Knighton, and between Newport and Alum Bay, do not run on Sundays or public holidays. The bus operator says it made the decision to withdraw all services on those routes on Sundays because of low demand. Over the extended bank holiday weekend, it meant no travel for residents reliant on bus services for essential trips on Good Friday, Easter Sunday and Bank Holiday Monday. Key workers and residents making food shops are reliant on the services for essential travel under the government's coronavirus restrictions. Chale Green's residents have been without a village shop since it closed suddenly in October. The bus operator said it hoped residents had used its service on Saturday to stock up on essential purchases. Richard Tildesley, Southern Vectis General Manager, said, "We took the decision to temporarily withdraw the Route 6 and 12 Sunday services because of extremely low demand during the current crisis. The Easter weekend meant a Sunday service for Good Friday and Easter Monday, so there were no services on those days. However, buses were running on Saturday. We hope this gave local people ample opportunity to travel to the shop for essential supplies over the Easter period." These changes were necessary in order for us to continue offering services across the island for key workers and essential journeys. We will continue to monitor the use of our services very closely and ask any key workers experiencing difficulties travelling between home and the hospital or elsewhere on the island to get in touch via our website or social media. We will do our very best to assist.
Hi, this is Sue reading from the Isle of Wight County Press. Stars back Isle of Wight Festival and White Aid T-shirt appeal for island charities. Kaiser Chiefs Ricky Wilson is the latest star to don an Isle of Wight Festival T-shirt, which are being sold to raise money for White Aid. The singer has presented and performed at the Seaclose Park event and says he will be back in 2021. When it returns following the coronavirus pandemic, in a video message, Ricky told Instagram followers, "Get one for yourself, I'm sure you'll look better than me." Meanwhile, Boyzone star Ronan Keating and his family have previously backed the appeal, which is raising funds to tackle homelessness, social isolation and domestic violence on the Isle of Wight.
This is Brian reading an article from OnTheWight. Nominate your NHS or key worker hero for a free Isle of Wight holiday. Glamping the Wight Way. Launched just after the clap for carers at 8 p.m. on Thursday, Glamping the Wight Way, a family-run business in Yarmouth, have pledged either a 3-night long weekend or a 4-night midweek break in one of their luxurious safari tents during our open season until the end of 2021, subject to availability. Glamping the Wight Way Safari Tent. Visit their website or Facebook page to nominate your NHS hero. Tapnell Farm. Meanwhile, Tapnell Farm have extended their offer to key workers that are helping us get through this difficult time, as well as NHS heroes. Tapnell are pledging a short break, 3-night weekend or 4-night midweek, in a choice of Tom's Eco Lodge glamping accommodation, safari tent, wood cabin, modulog or pod, set in the beautiful West Wight countryside, to be taken before the end of 2021. The Tapnell Farm Safari Tents. The prize also includes a meal in their restaurant, The Cow, unlimited entry to their farm park attraction during their stay, bike hire donated by Wight Cycle Hire, and return car ferry travel donated by Red Funnel. Tom's Eco Lodge at Sunset. You can nominate your key worker hero via the Facebook page for Tom's Eco Lodge. Get in touch. If you, an Isle of Wight business that is pledging anything as part of their campaign, let us know and we'll add your details here.
OnTheWight, Denscott. Driver charged over 2019 Forest Road fatal accident between 2 cars and a bus. A 19-year-old driver from Essex has been charged in relation to the road traffic incident that took place on Forest Road on the 14th of April 2019 between 2 cars and a bus. The incident took the life of one islander and 22 others were injured, including several on board the Southern Vectis bus. Death by dangerous driving. Ms. Yashmir Ravi Kumar of Laindon, Essex, has been charged with death by dangerous driving and 4 counts of causing serious injury by dangerous driving. She is due to appear at the Isle of Wight Crown Court on the 15th of May 2020. Loss of life. Isle of Wight mother of 4, Yvonne Copeland, died in the incident. Yvonne was travelling as a passenger alongside her husband, her son and his partner when the car was involved in the incident that took her life. Traffic improvements called for. A petition was launched calling for traffic lights to be installed at the junction of Forest Road with Betty Haunt Lane. The Isle of Wight Council said they would consider the move following the inquest.
This is Howard reading an article from the Isle of Wight County Press about the new Isle of Wight High Sheriff. She may not be out and about as she would like, but the island's new High Sheriff knows what her priorities are during the coronavirus pandemic. Following on from her predecessor, Jeff Underwood, Caroline Peel is busy using the High Sheriff's Trust to support vulnerable people on the Isle of Wight at this time. Mrs. Peel, who was born in Cowes to a Bembridge family, then worked in London before returning to live in Bembridge. She told the county press she'd lived with her grandparents in Cowes before meeting her husband Jonathan. In London, she worked in the charity sector and for a school for children with mental disabilities, as well as in property management. The couple returned to the Isle of Wight in the 1990s and moved back here full-time in 2012. Her father-in-law, Dennis Peel, was Isle of Wight High Sheriff in 1981. Mrs. Peel is already involved with charity, principally the Bembridge Guild of the RNLI, of which she is president. She's also Vice Chairman of the Island RNLI Board and is a member of the Executive Committee of the Ventnor Botanic Garden Friends Society and a former Commodore of Bembridge Sailing Club. The start to her year in office was unusual to say the least, with her declaration of office conducted via the app Zoom at her kitchen table instead of the normal formalities in a lovely garden somewhere. She said, "Standards need to be maintained, and I was still wearing my uniform." I'm hoping to continue supporting Jeff Underwood's Crisis Committee and, when restrictions are relaxed, to get out into schools and to meet a lot of island people. I'm hoping to bump into some of the people I was in the pony club with when I was a girl. She's appointed April Newton as Under-Sheriff.
Hello, this is Sue again. It's from the Isle of Wight County Press. Police helped rescue a dog sadly left behind after the death of Verona. Officers worked with an island charity to find a foster home for the dog. PC Livy said on the police's Facebook page, "Most officers on the island carry many different roles and have many different skills. As you have probably guessed, I'm an animal lover and the point of contact for most dog-related and animal matters, which includes joint working with the RSPCA as well as investigating dog incidents and promoting responsible dog ownership." This little lady was found at an address by our response officers after the sad loss of Verona. She is 12 years old and I hate to see the oldies in a kennel, so I managed to place her in a foster home with the island charity this week. We multi-agency work with a wide range of rescue centres on the island who help us to place animals on a more permanent basis should the need arise. I think you will all agree she's very content. I just wanted to highlight how much officers do behind the scenes to help people at difficult times and give an insight into many other roles we play.
This story is from the OnTheWight online news site, and I'm Stephen. Some Isle of Wight hotels and bed and breakfasts are being used for good reasons during lockdown, not holidays, OnTheWight has discovered. There has been a great deal of debate on social media over the last week about the number of Isle of Wight hotel or holiday lets that appear to be occupied, despite coronavirus lockdown measures of essential travel only. OnTheWight has been investigating into what might be the possible causes of this. Isle of Wight ferry companies stated last week that their services will not be used to transport holidaymakers to the Isle of Wight over Easter, and Isle of Wight police debunked rumours on Facebook that the island was, quotes, awash with holidaymakers, unquotes. If you happen to notice a hotel or B&B occupied, it's worth noting that many island accommodation providers have opened their doors to Isle of Wight health workers who can't go home because someone in their household needs shielding from coronavirus. OnTheWight approached the Isle of Wight NHS to ask about health workers staying in hotels and holiday lets, as well as those travelling from the mainland to work at the hospital. Nearly 90 businesses offered accommodation. An Isle of Wight NHS Trust spokesperson told OnTheWight, "We have had offers of accommodation for NHS staff from nearly 90 local businesses. We are grateful to them for all their support and have managed to place around 40 members of staff in hotels and bed and breakfasts." They also confirmed that Isle of Wight NHS Trust does have staff who continue to travel to the island. "The accommodation we have been offered is to help NHS staff keep working and protecting the local community. Some of those will be commuting and some of them are staying away from their families as well." We also got in touch with Airbnb, Booking.com and Expedia to ask what they were doing about bookings and whether any of their hosts were offering free stays for health workers. At time of publishing, Airbnb were unable to provide the number of hosts on the Isle of Wight who are taking part. However, last week they wrote to all their hosts advising that blocks would be applied to all calendars from Saturday 18th of April, except for those hosts who had offered up their accommodation for health workers. They also launched a £250 million fund to support this and cancelled bookings. A spokesperson for Expedia were also unable to provide specific Isle of Wight data, but they told OnTheWight, "As governments across the globe continue efforts to contain the spread of the coronavirus COVID-19, Expedia Group is working to stay on top of changing regulations and respond accordingly. To support government restrictions on non-essential travel, we continue to inform travellers and hotels of the limitations put in place, as hotels are still used for essential travel reservations from stranded travellers, health professionals and other essential business-related travel. Isle of Wight Police have a special reporting service for possible breaches during the lockdown. Through their Facebook page, they have been posting daily updates with photos of empty streets and details of where they've had to enforce lockdown measures. Mostly these have been in relation to islanders rather than holidaymakers.
On the Wight by Den Scott. Isle of Wight stationers launch new online card shop. We know how difficult it is to keep in touch during these difficult times. Many retailers have been forced to close, denying the community the ability to buy the most basic things. How lovely it is when we receive a message from our loved ones or family. Special occasions, anniversaries, sympathy or just to say hello. That's why Beardsall and the Artie Card Company have created an online card shop for you to personalise a message, and we'll post it to your friends and family. All cards have been designed by local artists. How it works. Send your card in just 4 simple steps. Choose your card from the website. There are several categories. Add to the shopping basket. Write your message and who you would like to send the card to. Check out and pay online. Head to the Artie Card website to browse the options and place your order.
This is Howard reading an article from the Isle of Wight County Press concerning a 99-year-old war veteran. A 99-year-old war veteran who has won the hearts of the nation by fundraising for the NHS has achieved his goal of 100 laps of his garden, raising, at the time of writing, more than £12 million. Captain Tom Moore completed the final 4 of the 25-metre laps at his Bedfordshire home on Thursday morning, with a special guard of honour by the 1st Battalion of the Yorkshire Regiment. Speaking at the finish line, he said he felt fine and that he was surrounded by the right sort of people. Of the coronavirus pandemic, he added, "We'll get through it in the end, but it might take time. But at the end of the day, we shall all be okay again. The sun will shine on you again, and the clouds will go away." And an update on that one, there's now a petition online to award Captain Tom Moore a knighthood, as the total he's raised exceeds £20 million for the NHS.
Hello, this is Sue, reading from the Isle of Wight County Press. Isle of Wight pub serves up food and coronavirus community support. An online fundraising page is gathering cash for a community food project, spearheaded by the Isle of Wight's The Yarbridge Inn. Left with a surplus of food when the pub was forced to close under the government's coronavirus measures, the team decided to whip up meals for vulnerable and elderly people on the island. When the pub's surplus food ran out, the community stepped in to donate food items. Now, a Just Giving page has been set up for those who would prefer to help out with a little bit of cash. Richard, Jane and Becky have already raised more than £1,000 and a team of local volunteer drivers are making deliveries.
This is Chris Kane reading an article from the Isle of Wight County Press. Red Jet suspended totally as further ferry cuts announced. Red Jet will be completely suspended from Saturday as the cross-Solent firms work to reduce their services to the minimum level to combat coronavirus. Red Funnel and Hover Travel have both worked with the Isle of Wight Council to maintain services only for essential lifelines. Red Funnel will be making slight reductions to their car ferry service and the total withdrawal of the remaining peak hour Red Jet services. Christopher Garnett, chairman of the Isle of Wight Transport Infrastructure Board, said, "Following extensive discussions last week, the board fully supports the decisions by Red Funnel and Hover Travel to reduce their services to the minimum level that will sustain the lifeline services to the island. These changes follow the announcement last week by Whitelink on its services. The Hover Travel reduction relates to weekend services only and weekday services will remain unchanged from the current timetable. Hover Travel will now be the sole provider of the fast foot passenger service linking the island to the mainland between Ryde and Southsea. We fully endorse these changes to ensure the maintenance of services for essential travel during these very difficult times. The operators are making incredible efforts on behalf of the island while under extremely challenging financial pressures. All parties are working closely with the government to ensure that services can be maintained to ensure the island remains resilient. We are now at the minimum service that we have said to the government that the island needs to keep it going. Red Funnel passengers will be able to travel on the vehicle ferry service, which will still be running 12 round trips per day instead of 15 to the following timetable. Departing Southampton, 0300 600 730 0900 1030 1200 1330 1500 1630 1800 2100 2355. Departing East Cowes, 0130 0430 0730 0900 1030 1200 1330 1500 1630 1800 1930 2230. Red Funnel is directly reaching out to all season ticket holders and those Red Jet foot passengers continuing to travel for essential purposes, and will offer appropriate support based on those customers' individual circumstances. Red Funnel and Hover Travel are also working together to accept future foot passenger tickets from both companies on any scheduled sailings.
This is Brian reading a letter from the Isle of Wight County Press. We're all getting on our bikes, from David Parkinson, Totland Bay. One of the unexpected benefits of the lockdown has been an increase in cycling, at least in the West Wight, with some positively venerable machines having clearly been dusted off for the occasion. The roads are uncharacteristically clear, with very few vehicles, and those who are using the highway are displaying a pleasing courtesy to their two-wheeled compatriots. There is, as ever, some bad news. The old railway line beside the River Yar has seen several depressions near the causeway filled with a material little better than hardcore. If it is as a result of Island Road's intervention, then I'm surprised. Their treatment of other surfaces has largely been impeccable, and I'm at pains to understand the wisdom of using ungraded stone, which is not ideal for horses or cyclists.
Hello, this is Sue, OnTheWight. This is a letter, a very big thank you to the Medina River Bank litter picker. During the coronavirus lockdown, my partner and I have been daily walking along the fields by the river between the Folly Inn at Whippingham and Island Harbour. Over the last few days, we have noticed a man has been picking up all the rubbish the tide brings in and the thoughtless people have dropped. He is doing a marvellous service, and yesterday we asked him if he was doing this voluntarily. He said he was, as he had noticed all the debris while walking along there himself. He has been doing a super job and been dragging a huge bag filled with the rubbish along behind him. I understand someone from Island Harbour gave him permission to leave the full bags over on their land. A big thank you. It's a pleasure now to walk along there, and anyone who does so should say a big thank you to him, as he has cleaned up that was an awful mess and a blight on the landscape. All we know about him is that he has been furloughed from his job and lives locally.
A letter from the County Press, read by Chris. Ireland's part in aviation history, from Anne Grant in Fareham. Were your family on the island before 1919? If so, Have any family memories been handed down through the generations about a major flying event that took place in the summer of 1919 around the coastal towns of the island? Supermarine Aviation claimed it was a world first cross-seas passenger service. This must have been an exciting moment on the island, much talked about at the time. You may have read about it in my Wight Memories in the county press on the 3rd of April this year. If you can contribute to further research on this topic with your family stories or photographs, please get in touch with me via the editor or my Solent Aviatrix website.
This is Brian reading an article from the Isle of Wight County Press, or a letter. Mystery visiting bird, probably a wryneck, from John Alford, Freshwater. Melvin Hurst, unidentified bird, County Press letters 3rd of April 2020, was almost certainly a wryneck. A relative of the woodpeckers and about the same size as the lesser spotted woodpecker, but brown with black, buff and grey markings. It is a regular but scarce passage migrant with fairly regular sightings on the island. We had one spend half a day in our conifer and gravel front garden in September 2016. Its voice described in one of our bird guides as far-carrying kai, kai, kai repeated. Compared to the description of the lesser spotted, high-pitched key, 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 key repeated, similar to wryneck. I hope this is helpful.
And now for the letter of the week from the county press, read by Chris. Verse on the coronavirus. Take heart. Take heart, dear friends, take heart. Our world is sad, but all will pass. For God himself promised this would be so, and tears will be wiped away. And even though we can't be free to walk the lanes, sit by the sea, one day again we will be free. Take heart, there's still the glorious moon, our friends the stars, and the night sky, all of us can see from doors and windows if we peep before we fall asleep. Take heart, dear friends, the sun will still shine, and families will meet up as before, and the daisies grow, and the violets too, in the leafy lanes just as we knew. It is just a matter of time. Take heart.
Hello, this is Ruth again. I have just been alerted by one of our members to a new service which has just been launched by Morrison's. If you are struggling to get groceries, then you can call Morrison's on 0345 611 6111 and choose option 5. You may be kept in a queue, but it will put you through to an operator who will read out a list of 45 essential items that you can choose from, including bread, milk, dairy, meat, fruit and vegetables. The order will then be delivered to your home where you can pay contactlessly. This service is aimed at the elderly and vulnerable customers, including those with a visual impairment. Again, the number is 0345 611 6111, option 5.
Hello, my name is Kizzy, and I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about what I've been doing these past couple of weeks. As we're all aware, we're all in this horrendous pandemic, which is COVID-19. From that, I wanted to be able to put something back into the community. While scrolling through Facebook, I came across a lady called Barbara Milton who was requesting sheeting and bedding and duvet covers to make scrubs for our local hospital, St Mary's. My mother-in-law and I managed to find several pieces of bedding, so I contacted Barbara to make arrangements for her to come and collect them. She came to our house to collect the bedding, and from there we had in-depth conversations about what she was doing. It transpired that she had been in contact with the coordinator of all the scrubs at St Mary's, and she had taken on the task to create enough scrubs to sustain this pandemic that we're in for the staff at St Mary's. From there, Barbara collected XXL scrubs from St Mary's, and over the past couple of weeks, a team of people within the community of the Isle of Wight have been resizing, cutting and sewing these scrubs to send back to the hospital. Unfortunately, that isn't enough. So Barbara has ordered 2,000 metres of fabric to be cut and remade into scrubs to send back into St Mary's Hospital. At the moment, Barbara has been paying for this herself, so we are trying to set up some funding to be able to pay for the purchases that have been made. We have been extremely lucky as Jeremy at Sea Safe in Cowes has said that he will cut the fabric for us with his laser cutter. This will reduce time massively for cutting and enable us to get this fabric out to the seamstresses for them to make the scrubs. We are still in need of skilled seamstresses to sew these scrubs together. If anyone can help, a Facebook page has been set up, which is Isle of Wight for the Love of Scrubs. If anyone can help in distribution, sewing, anything like that, it will be greatly helped. The person to contact is Barbara Milton. So please, if you can help, let's help our NHS together. Stay safe.
A poem by Jan Beaumont, read by Pamela Holt. Time for us girls. I'm normally a social girl. I love to meet my mates. But lately with the virus here, we can't go out the gates. You see, we are the oldies now. We need to stay inside. If they haven't seen us for a while, they think we've upped and died. They'll never know the things we did before we got this old. There wasn't any Facebook, so not everything was told. We may seem sweet old ladies who would never be uncouth, but we grew up in the 60s, if only they knew the truth. There was sex and drugs and rock and roll, the pill and miniskirts. We smoked, we drank, we parted, and were quite outrageous flirts. Then we settled down, got married, and turned into someone's mum, somebody's wife, their nana. Who on earth did we become? We didn't mind the change of pace, because our lives were full. But to bury us before we're dead is like red rag to a bull. So here you'll find me stuck inside, for weeks, maybe more. I found myself again. Then I had to close the door. It didn't really bother me. I'd while away the hour. I'd bake for all the family, but I've got no flaming flour. Now, Netflix is just wonderful. I like a gutsy thriller. I swoon over Idris or some random sexy killer. At least I've got a stash of booze for when I'm being idle. There's wine and whiskey, even gin if I'm feeling suicidal. So let's all drink to lockdown, to recovery and health, and hope this awful virus doesn't decimate our wealth. We'll all get through this crisis and be back to join our mates. Just hoping I'm not far too wide to fit through the flaming gates.
Sight for Wight would like to thank you for listening to this week's edition of the Talking News. We would also like to thank our volunteers for reading, and a particular thank you to the Isle of Wight County Press and OnTheWight. A special thank you must go to Vectis Radio, who has helped us get vital information to our members. Stay safe.